Welcome to week 12 of the NFL. This is our Thanksgiving DFS DraftKings breakdown. We're going to go through and give you our top plays at each position and I think we should build, since 3 games, we should kind of build through a few different lineups with different quarterbacks just to see like some different constructions that you can get to.
Okay.
I think that'll be the best way to do this episode. But, we'll start off and give you our favorite quarterback picks first. It's interesting slate. Like, I definitely think, as there's like an overview, there's one obvious like spot I think people will go to, but
Yep.
I also think it's going to be a little bit spread out. Like sometimes on these Thanksgiving slates, it's like one or two guys. They're like each like 40% owned, but I could see ownership outside. I think Dak will be the highest owned, but then
Yep.
it'll be really spread out kind of with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, Dak's definitely my favorite play. I mean, it's great matchup. Commanders don't have a whole lot in the secondary there. He's had multiple touchdowns in the last 4 games, throwing over like 35 attempts in the last 4 games in a lot of these one-sided matchups, and he's still getting there for the most part. 3 out of those 4, he put up more than 30 fantasy points. So very clearly my favorite play on this slate, but I think probably my second favorite is Brock Purdy, 6,100 there. I think Goff is in a matchup where they're going to lean on the run game significantly. I mean, the Packers are really bad against the run, and the Lions just love to establish both of those running backs. So I think the game script for Goff isn't as good, even though he's at home, he's in the dome. And then I think Sam Howell just has a tough matchup against Dallas. Right? Like we talk about his volume every week, but it's he's playing one of the best defenses in the league, and has, even though he's put up 40 plus pass attempts the last couple of times, he hasn't really. I mean, 21, 28, 20. Like he's doing okay, but it's not. I don't know if he's going to be able to put up and replicate that against the Cowboys. So Brock's probably my second favorite for that reason.
Okay, so Dak and Purdy are like your staples for the slate.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick.
Mainly off of just leverage. I'm gonna say my favorite quarterback is Jordan Love.
I like Love a lot.
I think he's going to be the least played, but he's been pretty decent the past 2 weeks. Last week he had 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Lions, the Chargers.
Yeah.
Who are, they're not anything special against the pass, but I think that's a good game. They have a lot of good young receivers. Like Jaden Reed has been a standout rookie for them. There's also some guy, Corey and I discovered his name last week. PB, you got him on one of your fantasy teams. What's his name? Dowdle?
Rico, are you talking about for the Cowboys?
No. Hold on. Let me look this up.
What are you talking about?
It was the guy we were talking about, Corey.
I don't have anyone on the Packers.
Oh, you do?
No.
All right, I'll come back to that. But Jaden Reed's been really good. Christian Watson has not hit his ceiling yet, and Romeo Dubes is a pretty good red zone threat. So
are you talking about Dontavian Wicks?
That's it.
I definitely don't have Dontavian Wicks on
it. Yes, you do. I saw it the other day.
Definitely do not.
I will say,
I think
they have good.
Might miss,
they have good options.
Might be missing.
And with Aaron Jones being out, they've really had to focus on the passing game a lot. AJ Dillon just never really panned out into what they thought he could be. So, passing volume's up, and I think it'll be a good leverage play.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you up there. So Dak's definitely my favorite. But I do think Jordan Love is my favorite leverage quarterback. He should be one of the lower owned. I mean, at this point with Geno's, like, it just depends on his health. Like, he's banged up, and so I think he might end up being the lowest owned because people are really scared of that and the matchup, whatever it is. But Jordan Love with Jones out, and then their third back, I think Emmanuel Wilson, he's out, and then Dylan's banged up. Musgrave's going to miss. And so I think that you're going to have a really condensed target tree with Christian Watson, Dubes, and Jaden Reed. I think Tucker Kraft will be a little bit sneaky when we get to tight ends. Maybe he'll be sneaky. We'll see. He might end up becoming popular as the slate gets closer. But I just think the target share is really condensed, and I think they're gonna have a super pass heavy approach. Like I think Jordan Love's throwing the ball 40 plus times this game, and he runs the ball. I think he had a rushing touchdown last time they played Detroit. So I think he's gonna run a lot more, and I think you just have easy stack options. Like I'm probably gonna play Christian Watson with him in every lineup, but yeah, I just think Christian Watson is primed for just a massive game here soon, and he leads. I think he leads the league in end zone targets, like across all receivers. Now I know some of the targets are awful because it's Jordan Love, but Jordan Love like leads the league in these downfield throws. It's just such a those two are going to connect, and he's going to put up a big performance. So I don't know. To me, it's Dak number 1 and Jordan Love number 2, purely from like a leverage like tournament perspective, and then it's probably Geno, then Goff, then Purdy. That's like the order that I'm probably playing.
Yeah, no, obviously Dak is definitely the favorite. He's going to be by far the most popular, like we've all said. But I'm with Alex. I like Purdy a lot. I just that offense when they're fully healthy just clicks. And he's 6,100 this week, but Geno has done nothing really all year. Pretty, outside a couple outlier games. He's hitting around 15 points a game. And I understand the matchup is seemingly better. The 49ers secondary isn't, nothing to really, be scared about.
It's not good.
But Geno's banged up. I know he came back in that game.
That's true.
They shot him up with some, Dilaudid or whatever, not Dilaudid, but whatever they use on the sideline. And I just think Purdy does enough to pay his price tag. I understand Dak's only 700 more, but on a slate like this, getting to better plays and saving that 700. I'm not saying like you can still use Dak, but just use the pieces around him. So I think mine would be, obviously Dak, Purdy, Love, then Goff. I was interested. I was looking at Goff's stats. Obviously, the last couple Thanksgiving he's played on. First one was against the Bears. He's probably played more, but I just went back 2 years. So 2021, they lost 16-14. He went 21-25, 171-2. And then last year he went 23-37 for 2. So the Lions typically play better on Thanksgiving. Obviously, both those games I just mentioned were losses, but it's like their Super Bowl. Well, it has been, but obviously now that they're good, it does make me think, Goff is a good play. Like people are going to be all over that run game, and playing Goff in the pass catchers instead. It might be something I move towards on Thursday. We'll see how many Miller Lights I have before I enter in my lineups, but definitely something I'm interested in.
Wide.
yeah. But then, other than that, I Sam Howell's definitely last. That Cowboys defense is going to have like 15 sacks against that offensive line. If Tommy DeVito just threw up, Danny DeVito just threw up 3 touchdowns against this Washington defense, it's really hard not just to plug and play Dak. For God's sakes, he's crushing it right now. As a Dak, I don't believe in Dak.
If you're playing, if you're just gonna like lock one quarterback, it's probably him. Like I just think the floor is probably the highest, and then obviously his ceiling's the highest. So it's just like you can kind of set it and forget it. But I would, if you play Dak, like you're gonna have to really start to get different because a lot of people play Dak. You're gonna play Lamb. People are gonna play Ferguson in that lineup. it just, you start limiting your spots on where you can get different. So sometimes, and I think these 3-game slates more than anything, like sometimes it's just about like these game theory. Like you could play Jordan Love, or like the reason why I like Love is because he's just the cheapest. It's like Dak and then Love is the cheapest. You could play Love, but then pretend you're playing a Cowboy stack as well. And sometimes just like the combo of players that allows you to get to by paying down a quarterback. And like Love could be like 5 points behind Dak and still be the optimal, because it allows you to get to that higher receiver or that higher running back or something. So when we build a lineup, we'll kind of see that. But all right, what about running back?
I mean, there's about 6.
1, 2. I have 1. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 7, but that I'm playing. But who do you guys like most? Like if you had to rank them, let's say 1, 2, 3. Now this accounts, obviously, I mean, you could say McCaffrey, but I'm talking about like in order of like an account for ownership and the rest of your lineup. Like who do you like the most in order?
I mean, I don't understand why they brought down Christian McCaffrey's
I know,
salary.
it's crazy.
I mean, it makes 0 sense why they just did that. So you're getting him at a discount. It's tied with the lowest he's been all year at 8,700. So obviously, I think. See, the thing is, I think a lot of people, McCaffrey's going to be popular just because the other options on here. I mean, Walker is probably going to miss. Jones is not playing. Dillon is banged up. Like and the game scripts don't favor those guys, I don't think. So I think
the Lions run defense is also, like I said, I think Love is just, he's going to act as like a running back and he's going to throw the ball all game.
Yeah. So I think I go McCaffrey, then I would go Gibbs.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You got some expensive taste this week. I don't know. You must be playing like a 3K guy.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but when you say, okay, you're playing Dak, so you're playing like Dak, McCaffrey, Gibbs, Lamb. Okay, now he's playing.
No,
like,
I didn't say that,
guys.
I didn't say that. I just said
going
like
player by player versus like.
Well, I know, but I said rank your top 3. Like I was saying, accounting for price and ownership. Like it's just, I'm trying to understand like how you're playing all these guys, I guess.
I'm saying right now, anyone below David Montgomery is almost like not playable.
Charbonnet?
Yeah, Charbo
as the lead back at 5,300. How is he unplayable?
Yeah,
I don't like the
bad matchup.
I just don't like the matchup there. I think Seattle gets crushed, and I don't think obviously he's going to touch the ball a lot. I'm okay. I understand he catches passes, but like I'd rather pay down at receiver than pay down at running back, just because.
So yeah,
that's lead back.
That's what I was interested in. I was like, okay, so you must be like really punting at some of these, at like tight end and receiver or something, like in order to make it work. But I mean, to me, so yeah, McCaffrey. Yeah, Pollard's my favorite. Like he'll be in most of my lineups. Like I think he's the best player of the slate. Again, I said it last week, and then okay, so I don't think
the best player of the slate that doesn't get there.
He was fringe.
Do you guys not like him this week?
No, I do.
No, I
I
do.
do. It's just like you're just like how many times can we touch the hot stove and think we're not going to get burned? Like,
I mean, he didn't blow. He wasn't like a slate winner last week, but he was.
He got in that zone.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
He didn't burn you.
No,
Right.
no, he was fine last week. He was a good play.
Yeah.
But I don't think people realize how bad this Washington run defense is since like Chase Young and Sweat have left.
Okay, well, hang on. Before you keep going there, so is Carolina's, and it didn't seem to matter. They just threw the ball the entire time. That's the issue. They're not running the ball.
They throw the ball, but regression will happen to like where, like we see the Eagles, like Smith, where he just goes out at the 1 and they do the tush push. The Cowboys do it. They give it to Pollard. Like there's going to be this like regression, and it could just happen at this final stretch where everyone's just like, oh, there's Pollard. Like, and I think it's coming. And okay, so since Young and Sweat went out, right? that first game, it was Ramondre Stevenson. I said on the show, I was like, he's a good play. And he burst off like a 70-yard touchdown. Next game, it was it Kenneth Walker had like a 70-yard reception for a touchdown, I believe. Saquon last week, 2 receiving touchdowns. I mean, they're obviously, and now that I'm thinking about it, they keep getting gashed in the receiving area by these running backs, but they're just giving up explosive plays. And now they play the team with the best O-line they faced of all, like the Patriots O-line, the Seahawks O-line, the Giants O-line. Like, you're playing now the Cowboys offensive line. Tony Pollard is the best play of the slate, in my opinion, once again.
I didn't say I didn't hate Tony Pollard. I was just putting up.
I'm just
all right, Nick and Alex, who do you guys like?
I like McCaffrey, Pollard, and Charbonnet. If I had to pick Detroit running backs, I would go Montgomery just to save a couple $100, and he's putting up pretty similar production. I know Gibbs is being used more, but I just see the value on the touchdown side more with Montgomery. And I think they could also just, start to tail him off and save him for the playoffs because he's obviously their number one guy.
For sure. Yeah. CMC, Pollard, Charbonnet, definitely my 3 favorite. The Detroit backfield is, it's Gibbs backfield, but they do split a decent amount. Last week was pretty much 50-50 on touches. Obviously, Gibbs gets the boost in PPR with his pass catching ability. But the only other guy I'm really looking at, it's not a great matchup, but I think Brian Robinson has solidified a bell cow role in Washington. I think he's playable. I don't love it, but I think it's a decent pivot to get one of these cheap running backs because I think Charbonnet is probably going to be one of the most popular plays on the slate. And I don't like that matchup. I think I like that matchup less than I like Brian Robinson against the Cowboys.
What I'll chime in here and say, because both these Commanders running backs both catch the ball. Obviously, Ryan Robinson the last 2 weeks has shined in the pass game. Last week, Gibson was out, so. But I do like the running back play because if you have to think about it, that Cowboys defensive line is going to get so much pressure on the ball. And the way to slow down a pass rush like that is screens and dump offs to running backs. So if I was choosing between Charbonnet and Robinson, I'd rather play Robinson than Charbonnet, like Alex was saying. I think it's a much better play.
Yeah. See, for me, it's like, because Pollard's, 67, like I think Pollard and McCaffrey are the 2 best running back plays. And then Gibbs is the best Lions running back play. Montgomery is definitely like my least favorite running back play. I'll play Brian Robinson fading, I think, and then Dillon fading. I think the 2 cheap guys you can play that, it would come into like a blowout for either of the teams or injury, but that's Rico Dowdle. If you see, like we saw him, in the fourth quarter, they start to use him if they're really blowing him out. You could see him just get like one of those late touchdowns, really cheap. And then Elijah Mitchell, if, obviously that's a little more injury related, like McCaffrey really just doesn't come off the field, but like playing like 1% of Elijah Mitchell in that's kind of like, I would probably fade kind of all the 49ers and just play Mitchell.
That's pretty grim.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying this is like a very large, like, you're not ever playing this in like a small field tournament. This is like super large field play. And I'll have like 1% of Mitchell and
Didn't
Yeah, you better be playing a lot of lineups if you're throwing Eli Mitchell in there.
Yeah, like
but
you're playing.
I will say, you might just get hit with the Rico.
So you like the Rico call?
I kind of like the Rico call.
Yeah.
I
Again, you don't play him with. I don't think you play him with Pollard, and or you play Pollard, Rico, and like pretty much no other.
why don't
Maybe
you just
one of the
play?
Dallas pass catcher, but not
Why don't
Dak
you
or
just
anything.
why don't you just play Cooper Rush and everyone, all the other backups, just because it's going to be a
Because
blow.
Rico actually okay. What was
I know he touches the ball, but
against the Giants when he had 12 attempts for 80 yards and a touchdown 2 games ago. Last week he had 8 attempts for 23 yards. He had 2 targets. It happens in these blowouts, which is very possible against Washington. Just saying he's a play.
I'm not saying he's not a play. I'm just saying that
I'm saying he's not a play. I do not believe O'Donnell is in the $1 million winning.
I mean, if I had to bet, I don't think he is either.
Didn't
I think
a
Pollard
running
is, but I'm saying he's a 1%er in my opinion.
didn't a running back last year, like in the very first game, get injured in the main slate? I want to say it was like a huge play.
The Thanksgiving slate?
Yes. I remember you and I texting about it.
Yeah,
because
I
he was
think
like
you're
our
right.
highest owned running back, and he went down like immediately and was out for the rest of the game. It was like,
was it Saquon?
Could have been.
I would have to look back at who played last year, but yeah, it was something like that happened.
all right,
So
let's
I'm
move
just
to
saying,
receivers.
you would have, if you're someone that, like, for example, McCaffrey is the highest owned, he gets banged up on the first play, and then Mitchell is the lead back the rest of the game. Mitchell is probably in the winner if he's the lead back for the 49ers the entire game. And you would be competing with very few people. All right, let's go on to receiver. This is where I mean, you're not getting leverage with any of those plays unless you're playing Rico or Elijah Mitchell. All of those running back plays we mentioned are going to be owned. It's really receiver and tight end that you can receiver mostly that you're going to be able to find a leverage play that really separates you if they hit a long ball or something. So let's start with our top guys and then try to get into these really low owned tournament plays.
My favorite play of the week is DK Metcalf. I think Seahawks are going to have to pass a lot. They just lost their star safety Hufanga for the year. So just like we've been playing against Tennessee, when a safety goes down, you play the long ball against them. So that's what I'm doing here. So DK is my favorite play. I mean, obviously you got guys like Amon-Ra, CD, very tempting. Washington isn't as bad as you think against outside receivers, or mainly number one receivers. And I like Amon-Ra. He has the second best matchup of the week according to PFF. So
if Jari Alexander sits, if he plays, I don't think it's the best of the
He
week.
hasn't practiced yet.
Yeah, I don't think
as of Tuesday.
That's assuming he's not playing, I guess.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, great matchup if Jair is out for sure.
Yeah, we saw Keenan Allen just go for like 10 for what, like 120 and 2 or 1 or something.
And they play the same exact role on there,
exactly.
that offense. So, I mean, I'm definitely doing a lot of run backs with Amon-Ra, especially because you could get cheaper with Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs stacks with Jordan Love. And I have a couple lineups as well that I'm throwing Tucker Kraft into a 3-player stack, or I guess 4 total, but
yeah. Tucker will get to Tucker Kraft at tight end. Okay, so Nick, you're Amon-Ra over Lamb this week.
I am, yeah.
Because that's one of the biggest things if you just look. It's so the big 3 are McCaffrey, Lamb, Amon-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing at least.
Brandon Cooks is in a good spot against a Washington slot, which gets chewed up. So I don't mind Brandon Cooks out of Dallas this week.
So between Lamb and Amon-Ra, Corey, who do you like?
I want to say probably St. Brown in terms of just because he's the pure volume guy there. It's not really any besides Laporta. In the passing game that Dak spreads the ball. I understand what CD's doing right now is insane. but he needs to do a lot to pay off that price tag. And
Well, they're the same price tag.
you're right. They are the same price tag. Um, I think I go St. Brown just in a more competitive game. I think the Cowboys Packers game is just a little bit more competitive, and I like golf at home. So I like St. Brown more.
Alex?
Yeah, if Jair's out, Amon-Ra for sure, Sun God. I agree with Corey. I think that I know that Dallas and Dak and CD have been putting up insane numbers in these one-sided games. I just think that the odds of a one-sided game where they don't put it up and don't get there is a lot more possible than Amon-Ra seeing 14 targets and getting there for the same price. So I'm leaning that way for sure between the two.
I slightly lean Lamb over Amon-Ra, but like it's so close. It's just I might end up just going like 50-50 on him.
Yeah.
Because if I think Pollard is more like taking the touchdowns this game, it's like, well, someone's on the Lions is scoring, so who is it? And I want one of them. So maybe it is Amon-Ra, actually, thinking through it more.
I mean,
especially if Jair's out.
Yeah, it seemed like we liked the rushing matchups for both of those teams more than the pass catching side of the ball too. So that's a little tricky. But
well, I don't like Montgomery that much. I like
the Detroit
Gibb.
run game, like
But yeah.
defense against the run is pretty bad. So that plays a role in that too.
It's tough for sure. Because I definitely, if we go down to Ayuk, I hate Ayuk this week.
Yeah, I think Debo's a much better play.
Yeah, I like Debo a lot. Debo is definitely like one of my top 3 receiver plays. Just because of what he can do in the run game and against this like heavy zone Seahawks defense. Man, after the catch, he's just gonna bust a long one here soon.
Yeah. I mean, Gino's elbow injury concerns me with the Seattle pass catchers, especially with how much pressure the 49ers are going to put on him. I don't know. I honestly think the Seattle side of the ball might be my least favorite play of the entire slate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just think Metcalf is so good and the 49ers defense is so weak in that area that it's like hard for me to pass up. I don't like Lockett as much, but I like Metcalf and JSN quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean they let up yards, but they don't give up a ton in the red zone. Like they're the typical
to me, that's a little
more
regression to the mean, but
yeah.
Question: why is Deebo Samuel also discounted? Did they just decide to discount all San Francisco players this week?
Except Ayuk, yeah.
Except for Ayuk
and Kittle. Yeah, they brought down McCaffrey and Debo, who I
Ayuk
like.
is 200 cheaper, but
I'm just saying like in relation to other plays. Like if you think about it, McCaffrey getting priced down like 87 and Ayuk staying, and then Lamb and Amon-Ra, who've been like 9K guys, are down. It's like he kind of is priced up, like in a sense.
It's got to factor into the 3-game slate too.
Yeah,
like the pricing is there's a variance,
right? So definitely prefer Debo over Ayuk. Now kind of going into the cheaper, like underneath Debo, so like Terry McLaurin and below. This is kind of where you're going to start to get into like 20% or below guys, and guys that really will start, like when you see them start to get those 20-yard catches or score, your lineup's just like boom, really jolt over to the right, and we got to find those plays. So who are they? Who are your like top 3 guys like in this range?
I know you mentioned Watson, but Romeo Dubes, I don't know if it's possible that both of them are 2 of the highest targeted red zone pass catchers, or if I'm mixing one of them up, or if you are PB. But I think it's Dubes who actually is like a top 3 red zone targeted wide receiver in the league. He's got, what has he got?
He has like 7 or 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he's got 7 touchdowns. I think almost all of them are in the red zone. It just seems like him and Jordan Love have a better connection, or their play styles just match up a little bit better than Love and Watson. I don't know if it's like his deep ball isn't accurate enough for Christian Watson's game right now, or what it is, but I feel like Dubes is his preferred guy, and obviously, it's priced that way, $700 difference, but I think I lean Dubes over Watson in this range.
Okay.
Dubes over Watson. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'll just say Watson's my favorite receiver player of the slate.
I know. It's like chosen.
He hasn't done anything though. Like maybe the connection's just not there.
Nah, it's
He
coming.
had a connection last year, so I don't know what happened between this year and last year, but
Last year was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
no, but he came in for a couple games and he absolutely just peppered Watson. Watson had multiple big games with Jordan Love under center, but I like Nick's.
Watson's also been banged up. Like he's kind of like, even when he came back, he's still been dealing with kind of some stuff, and I think he's
always questionable.
Okay. But yeah, I like Nick's Brandon Cooks call. I mean, I think he's going to be pretty popular. So I think going below that is Michael Gallup at 3,700. Used to be the guy there. Like until Brandon Cooks came, like I know Gallup was injured, coming into this year. So maybe he's just now kind of getting the swing of things. Like Brandon Cooks is so much older than him. So Gallup, I know Nick's mentioned that Washington's better on the outside, but I think CeeDee Lamb just takes so much pressure off the other receivers, since he takes more double teams in the cover 2 aspect of things. I like Gallup at 3,700, and then below that, I mean, I think one of these random Detroit Lions players is going to score a touchdown.
Jameson Williams, back-to-back weeks.
I mean, it's such a shit show outside of Amon-Ra. Like literally outside of Amon-Ra, it's just a complete shit show.
Yeah.
But I swear, every Thanksgiving slate, it's a random Lions receiver.
It is.
Do you remember that slate a few years ago? I forget who the starting quarterback was, but he was injured. David Blau came in.
David Blau.
Yeah, David Blau came in. He had a good game. I don't remember if Blau was on the winner, but Kenny Golladay went crazy. And yeah, just a Lions receiver always seems to be on the winning Thanksgiving. It was Josh Reynolds 1 year. It might have been Khalif Raymond 1 year.
It was Josh Reynolds last year. David Blau, 2019.
That's when the year with Kenny Golladay.
75-yard touchdown pass to Kenny Golladay, and Blau went 22 of 37 for 280 yards.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always one of these random lines.
But it's like harder because back then it was still kind of condensed. It was kind of like now you have Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. It is so spread out. It's going to be hard to pick one. So who's your favorite of the Lions?
Not DPJ.
Yeah, not DPJ, but
come on.
Between Reynolds, Raymond, and Jameson, who do you like?
I'd say Williams, just because he's the deep ball. If he can catch one and score, I mean that pays him off. For more volume, I think you go Reynolds. But if you're playing to win it all, I think you play Williams if you're looking to go that route.
So hang on, let me look at snap count real quick. So last week we saw Reynolds has been a consistent 73% all year. So he's stable. Khalif Raymond was averaging like 30 to 40%. Last 2 games, he's been down to 20%. Jameson Williams has gone from an average of like 40%. Week 10, he went to 52. Week 11, 65.
ramping him up.
So, and then Donovan Peoples-Jones got 5% last week. So yeah, I would say Khalif Raymond's kind of the odd one out. I think it's Jameson Williams or Reynolds.
Yeah.
That you would play for that like low owned Detroit guy. But are there any other of these like,
Let's does anyone have anyone else, or should we move on to tight end?
I think one of these Cowboys is playable, whether it's Turpin or Tolbert, probably Tolbert.
We're doing this again.
What?
We're doing this again.
What are we doing?
If
Going
the
to the
wide
event.
receiver 4 gets injured at the start of the game.
No. Tolbert has 5 targets in all 3 of his last against Philly, Giants, and Carolina. He has 5 targets.
Yeah, but how much was that in garbage time?
Let me actually look at his snap count real quick.
Because I feel like a lot of that was during Cooper Rush.
Hang on. So no, Tolbert all year has averaged, like, even through week 6, he was averaging 30%. And now the last 4 games, he's been averaging 50% of snaps. And I think Gallup has been kind of the one getting he was down to 35% last week. I think they're kind of leaning on Tolbert more than Gallup. Like Cooks is kind of Cooks and Lamb are solidified, but then Tolbert is kind of like taking Gallup's role a little bit. So I think he's the sneaky cowboy. Well, Dowdle, obviously, but like for a guy that's going to be on the field most of the game, or at least half the game, I think Tolbert's the guy.
For a guy that's going to play.
Yeah, so I think it's like, I think the cheap guy, the cheap receiver, if we want to come to an agreement, is what, like is Jameson Williams, Reynolds, or Tolbert? For this, we're talking like,
I don't want to put my flag on Tolbert.
Oh, Gallup. You have to include. I didn't realize Gallup's going to be under 10%. So for me, this is mine. It's Gallup, Tolbert, Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds. Those are my loony bin plays.
Go down there and stay down, please. Stop coming up from the surface. Because
come on, you
I understand. I understand the slate
every single year.
I know what I've played this slate thousands of times.
Exactly.
But I'd rather go someone that's going to be whatever. Let's move on tight end before we go blue in the face here. Talking about Tolbert.
Jake Bobo is like a 1%er, but okay.
Oh my god.
He can't help himself. He's had 3 touchdowns.
Okay. Tight ends. Nick or Alex, you go first.
I like Tucker Kraft a lot. And Sam Laporta is going to be the
the hell are you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, explain why.
Musgraves is out. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of an injury play. He's really cheap, and I'm playing a lot of Jordan.
He's a phenomenal play.
Yeah,
he's going to be so high owned.
He's not going to be high owned. I don't think he's going to be high owned.
I think it's a good leverage play, especially if you're playing Jordan Love.
Yeah, I think you should put Tucker Kraft in your Jordan Love.
That's for me this week. That's what I'm basing all my lineups around, is a huge Jordan Love week.
Okay,
it could go south for you very fast.
It probably will, but on the off chance it doesn't, I'm going to be sitting nice.
Hey, I've been off Love all year, and I'll be going down with the ship with you this week, Nick. Outside of my DAC lineup, Love's going to be my guy. So yeah, I'll be going down with you.
Alex, who do you have before I throw up?
Well, you may not want to go too far. Logan Thomas, I think, is a good play this week. He's seen 5+ targets in the last 5 weeks. 2 times getting 8 targets. He's only gotten into the end zone 1 time over that 5-game span, but he's getting looks. We know the volume's there with Sam Howell. Say it once, I'll say it again. And I think if there's one spot you can attack this Cowboys defense, it's over the middle. It's they're a tough defense no matter what, but I'm not trying to go against Deron Bland on the outside. Obviously, the D line is full of monsters, so I think if they're getting that pass rush like we expect them to get on Washington, there's going to be a lot of quick dump offs. There's going to be looks over the middle, and so I think Logan Thomas is one of my favorite tight end plays, if not my favorite.
Yep, I would have to agree with you. Same thing, same explanation. Quick dump offs. Logan Thomas is not a down the field tight end. He's about 10 yards out. That's where he lives and that's where he thrives. So that's
isn't it? So I feel like it isn't. So it's like Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas pretty much are like,
yep,
the guys you can attack Dallas with.
Yep, agreed. Curtis Samuel's the only Commanders wide receiver I'll be playing this week.
And then Laporta, you gotta like Laporta. I mean, he's the second pass option there. Kittle, I love me some Kittle. But yeah, I think I'm living in that kind of. Don't even touch Seattle tight end.
Okay, so don't speak to a Seattle tight end will score a touchdown this week. I don't know who, but one of them is going to score.
I still hate Noah Fant from last year.
See, I think Noah Fant's the best of the Seattle tight end plays. Like, I mean, it goes in order: Fant, Parkinson, Disley. But I think one of them is scoring a touchdown this week. So it might be like they might have like 2 catches for 20 yards and a touchdown, but like that's what 10 points at 2,500. So you better hope like Kittle, Logan Thomas, Laporta, at Ferguson, I think is the best play. Like just straight up, like who's the best tight end plays, chalky, probably should, I guess. The thing is, I think when you're playing on 3-game slates, whatever quarterback you play, you should be playing the tight end. Like, whatever quarterback you're playing, I think the tight end on that team should be on your team. And I think double tight ends are fine on 3-game slates. So you play like
Ferguson. I can't wait to do my double tight end of Noah Fant and Kraft. Can't wait for it. Give me a total of 5 points.
You know how many receivers you could pay up for.
Nobody's gonna have that, and I'll show you what type of unique lineup you could get playing something like that.
Oh, I know the unique lineup can be insane, but if
you and then you treat them like a 5K play, so it's like Tucker Kraft and Noah Fant, it's a 5K player, and they score each score a touchdown. That's paying off a 5K price tag.
Yeah, well, okay,
that's true. Simple.
All right, let's build some of these lineups.
Let's start with our favorite Dak. And here's
talking about too much Kraft. I think you guys are wanting to go to
dude, Tucker
Asian
Kraft,
parlor and get a Robert
he's
Kraft.
a rookie too, I believe, with him, and they've been like, hyping him up kind of. Like I think they like Kraft a lot.
I think a lot of people like getting Krafts.
All right, let's start with Dak. So we're just gonna put Lamb in this one.
Yeah, slam him in there.
All right. Are we just going to put – see, this is – I think if you're playing Dak, you should be playing Gallup or Tolbert because it's the – I feel like it's going to be so hard to get, like, really different with the Dak lineups. So –
then you go Gallup then. Oh, okay. Tolbert's fine. Tolbert's fine. No. We'll play –
fine with either of them.
How about both?
We're just breaking – so you're playing Ferguson here too?
Yeah, we could go with. See, this is you can't. The thing is, like, if there's one team that you can do the full onslaught, we've seen it work a few Thanksgivings ago. It was when the Bills were on the slate. 6 Bills were in the winner on Thanksgiving. It was like Allen, Diggs, Gabe Davis,
McKenzie,
their tight end, the defense. I think it was like a full onslaught.
It was McKenzie, by the way.
McKenzie. Yeah. We don't. I mean. Maybe not the defense in this one, just because it's total. Maybe we do like 49ers defense or something on this one.
All right. So do we need to go cheap then, running back with Sharp or Brian Robinson?
I would do Sharp over Robinson, but I do think we can still get one of Pollard, Gibbs, or McCaffrey in this.
Along
I
with
like the CMC.
Okay. I vote Christian Watson, my favorite receiver play.
Yeah.
And then you could play McLaurin as a run back. You could play Laporta. Like we don't have to fill it in here, but this is just like we're just kind of like going through, different ways you can build like a tournament lineup. Like, yeah, Lamb's chalky, McCaffrey's chalky, Charbonnet's chalky, Dak, like all these guys are pretty chalky, but we're doing the full onslaught, and then we put Tolbert in there, which will be a unique for a Dak team.
Yep.
But
All right.
yeah, let's do what was that? Another Love. We like Love.
Yeah.
Throw Robert Kraft in there.
Get Tucker in there.
Watson.
And then you could okay. So if you're gonna do this is where you could double tight him with Laporta. That's fine. But
I mean, I would maybe put a Monra on this team.
well, you could do anything. But I'm just saying. We were just talking about how you like double tight ends.
I think you gotta play Dubes. He's the safest wide receiver for them this week.
I think Dubes is the worst of the Packers plays, but
why?
Because I think Watson, I think
he's the only one that's put up like over 15 points a week and
but
isn't injured.
So he's been so touchdown dependent, and I hate receivers that really depend on touchdowns to get their fantasy points.
All right, so take out Doobies, put in.
I don't think you should, like, Dak's the only quarterback I'll say on the slate where you could really overstack. I don't think like again, I think Love runs the ball a lot. I don't think Love is a guy you stack with more than two guys, really. I should max two with Love. Whether it's Love, Dubes, Kraft, Love, Reed, Kraft.
Yeah,
I personally
there. Could bring back everyone like Pollard.
You could do like could do like a Pollard and CMC, just like a powerhouse. You still get a decent money.
Okay, defense. We can do. I would say they're Cowboys or Seahawks.
I mean,
Cowboys, Seahawks, or 49ers.
I say Cowboys.
All right, so far, do we have like? Oh yeah, we have Kraft as a leverage play. We should probably get like one more like semi low owned guy. What team haven't we got a guy from?
Washington, Seattle.
Curtis Samuel.
I'm fine with not getting a guy on Washington if there's any team, but
JSN's there.
I like JSN and
Cooks.
Metcalf a lot. Yeah, maybe we should get a Dallas receiver, whether it's Cooks, Gallup, Tolbert.
I like Cooks.
And then we're back in the same 5,500
Sharps or Laporta or McLaurin. Can just mix and match kind of guys like that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't like McLaurin.
Agreed.
All right, last one.
Showing you like what you could do to mix and match guys. Who was another quarterback we liked? I mean, you guys liked Purdy, so you guys can kind of build that out. I don't like him, but
yeah, you stay out of this.
Corey, I think you go Debo and Kittle this week.
Mm-hmm.
I like that too. And then Seattle side, Nick, I know you like DK.
Yeah.
So get him in there. Running
back.
Yeah,
JSN just hasn't been like a fantasy relevant. Like he's a solid 8-10 point guy, but maybe a guy you play in deeper leagues.
I'd only need 13
not
on
DFS
the slate though from him.
Running back situation. So we had to kind of go down. We can't really get anyone higher here.
I think you go like Pollard and Charbonnet.
So just really stack this game.
Good.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I know we like Bijan, but or not
Trying to
Bijan.
find your. I'm trying to find your leverage play here.
Chill out up there. You chill. Um. Then
So
I
far, I
think
see chalk.
you can shut up. You're not building this lineup, PB.
Yeah, might need me in a second.
No,
I
we
think
don't. Need you.
you go like Cowboys because we're not playing anyone from Washington.
Chalk.
And then you throw like Tucker Craft as your wild card.
There you go.
No, not in this one. You can do.
It's a perfect lineup for it.
No, you do Williams, Jameson Williams, and then you can get up to David. But I think you could also leave money on this slate. I don't think you need to really, you don't have to pay for everything. So, I mean, Dubes. Okay, so if you pay for Dubes, then we got to come off of, you come off. I mean, you could leave this if you wanted to. I mean, I don't usually like leaving more than 1,000. But on 3-game slate, this also opens you up to late game swaps. But we are playing all late games in this one. So it would really only depend on if the Green Bay and Detroit game blew up, that Washington Dallas game, and you didn't have any pieces from that Green Bay Detroit game, that Washington Dallas game, you would have to come off of probably, I would say, DK and go to an off the wall play to make it worth your while and try to make up ground.
I mean, at that point, probably just do a Geno stack, man, because he'd be the lowest owned.
Well, I'm just saying, like, just saying you have to come off players.
Yeah.
If that Green Bay Detroit game blows up and you have nothing from that.
I do think there are advantages in, like, really paying attention. Like late swaps, the biggest thing on the Thanksgiving slate, because you get a ton of information throughout the day. Is it one more quarterback that we liked that we didn't do? I know we didn't like.
Build it. Let's build our Millie Maker.
You want to build our final one?
Yeah.
All right, who are we going with? I say Dak or Love. Those are my two, but whatever you guys want.
I'm
Nick?
with PB.
Alex?
I lean Dak, but
I mean,
play Dak.
Love.
Don't get fancy with it.
Yeah, let's just play Dak here.
So then we go in CD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think you fade Pollard in this lineup.
So yeah, I personally like stacking Dak with Pollard. I think it's one of the ways to get unique with Dak lineups. And I'd
rather do like CD and Ferguson.
Yeah, but I think Pollard could definitely catch a touchdown as
running
backs.
I like Pollard on this.
All right. You
got to do something with our Dak line, like stacking quarterback, running back, and not playing
that's
Ferguson
true.
or
You got to get
something.
weird.
Like maybe we fade Ferguson in this one
and play Gallup.
I say Gallup or Tolbert.
All right, let's do that. And then that allows us, then we can play the Cowboys defense here too and just go the full onslaught.
Yeah, I was going to say that's one way because Cowboys are the most popular. Why wouldn't we play like the 49ers?
We can play 49ers. I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, Geno's banged up, or if then Drew Lock has to come in or something.
True. And then tight end, do we want to play?
I mean, this could be a Logan Thomas or.
Yeah, I think Logan Thomas could be the
Logan Thomas, Laporta, or Tucker.
I like Logan Thomas, Nick.
Yeah, I like him.
All right. Freeze this up a little bit.
Running back, we're probably going to be in the.
Can't play
man.
Sharp. Can't play Brian Robinson. So we're playing.
Why can't we play Sharp?
We're playing the 49ers defense.
I mean, I had 3-game slate. Like, I'll probably have a rule where I don't play more than like 2 players against the defense, but I think you play up to like, because the defense at the end of the day on a 3-game slate isn't like, it's not as big as like a 10-game slate where you shouldn't do that. So I think we could play Charbonnet still. He could get like no touchdowns and 15 points and be optimal.
Mhm. All right.
But I'm fine with Charbonnet or Gibbs or, well, really just those two. I don't think we can fit McCaffrey.
You can play them both.
Receiver wise, I mean,
Watson.
we I mean, it just yeah, and then flex it gets us all up to we can get Ayuk
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
Gibbs.
I'd rather do Gibbs than Ayuk.
Okay.
600
Right.
left.
How much do we have left?
600. That's
I'm
good.
trying to think. If we went Gibbs in the running back over Charbonnet, would Charbonnet be Debo?
Yeah, you can get the Devo.
I think I prefer that.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. Let's go win $1 million in Thanksgiving. We're thankful.
I like that lineup a lot.
I'm gonna build it too.
What?
I'm gonna build it too.
TM.
Yeah, excuse me, Corey. Corey's just gonna make sure we then you don't get any of this chop if you go duplicate. All right. Well, that will do it for our Thanksgiving episode. We'll be back as always for our bet show and our main slate breakdown. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.